Welcome once again, everybody, to Blockbuster Mentality, the show where we dive deep into the world of cinema. I'm your host, Ben Secord, and today, Dave and I will once again pit two movies up against each other. Today, we're going to do Darkest Hour versus The Post, both nominated for the Oscars that are coming up on March 4th. So, to get prepared for that, we're going to see which one has the better shot of winning Best Picture. So, sit back, relax, let's talk some movies.
So we are back with another comparison episode. Last time we did The Shape of Water versus Three Billboards. This is Oscar season. We're looking at Best Picture nominees. We're also trying something just a little bit different tonight. We're getting ready for possibly a really live show. Is that true, Ben, for the Oscars?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So, yeah, we are doing the show over Skype today. It's kind of a testing grounds as to see how it's going to shape out, how the quality is going to be. And hopefully you folks are okay with it because, yeah, we're just trying new things, a little experimenting time.
Yeah, giving this a shot. Tonight's episode is the battle for the Best Picture, The Post versus Darkest Hour. Two really good movies. We've got 5 categories, just like last time. We're going to go through cinematography, score, acting, screenplay, and direction. And we're just going to say, it's going to be straight up or down, which one wins. And this is going to be the battle here. Whoever gets the most check marks or whatever is going to make it through the next round, right?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing it with Shape of Water and Three Billboards. That was a lot of fun in our last show. And
nice format.
Yeah, and it's a good way to break down the films and kind of look at them. The technical aspects of the films, not just breaking it down by just opinions, but kind of objectively looking at the movie, how cinematography was, score, and everything like that. So I think
we've got this 5, basic criteria, and then we're just going to talk a bit about it and say which one of these two we think did better, because we've got so many of these movies. What is it, 9 Best Picture nominees this year?
Yep, 9.
There's so many good ones, and we want to get through as many of them as we can before the awards.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know.
Once that show's over, no one's going to care other than, maybe a couple. But after that, these are going to just fall by the wayside, because that's kind of why they're here now, is to get up into the season. So.
Yep. Exactly. I'm excited to get into this. So, yeah, like I said at the top of the show, we're going to do Darkest Hour and The Post, the Steven Spielberg movie that came out this year. Darkest Hour was directed by Joe Wright. And, yes, you want to just jump into it? Go ahead.
I want to ask, I got a question for you first, is what were your thoughts on both of these movies before you went in? Just sort of, you see the trailer, you see the news. How excited were you to get into these movies?
Darkest Hour, I've been looking forward to just because of the hype I've been hearing about Gary Oldman's performance as Winston Churchill. Other than that, it didn't really interest me too much. I do like World War II stuff. Obviously Dunkirk came out this year. Loved that movie. Favorite movie of the year. But I wasn't too excited to see it. I was probably a little more excited to see it than The Post. The Post, I don't know, it just seemed like a really cookie cutter movie that was coming out. I'm not really a fan of those dramas that Spielberg does. Just because they're forgettable to me. But I mean, that's how about you? How'd you feel about them before you were going in?
Darkest Hour. My initial impression of what this would be was the movie that I didn't want for World War II. So I wasn't into it, but it actually turned out not to be that. It's more of a biography.
Right.
I think this movie there's probably a movie out there called Churchill. I'm sure there is. But this movie may as well have been called Churchill.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's totally about him and his tactics and how he, got through this situation, which essentially was the Dunkirk situation.
Right. You get Dunkirk, the political perspective, which is kind of nice. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But I wasn't all that interested in seeing it, to be quite honest. And The Post, if this thing wasn't nominated for anything, I don't think I'd see it. I don't think I would have any interest in seeing it. It's one of those things that, like, it sounds just sort of okay.
Right.
Like, this maybe would make like this seems like at the level of TV drama that I don't want.
Yeah, I hear you.
If that's kind of what I'm saying. So So I wasn't all that enthused about either one of these films, but it doesn't mean they weren't good, and it doesn't mean you can't approach them in a way where you can appreciate, them for being good. So
So you're saying you're not crazy about them after seeing them even?
oh no, my
Oh,
I mean,
okay, that's
I
just your initial thoughts.
I think they're both good movies,
Okay.
but since I had no, I'm just saying, it doesn't dissuade me. I just didn't want to see them. Wasn't interested in them, and then seeing
Right.
them was like, yeah, okay, they're good. I get it.
Yeah.
And then talk about the ways why.
Yeah, you can understand why.
Yeah.
Why they are where they are. But so yeah, let's go ahead and get into it and talk about cinematography. That's
Cinematography.
first up. Cinematography.
Yeah, so
Go ahead.
so the post is Janusz Kaminski, who's actually a bit, which I find out, I didn't even know this name. He's a bit of a Spielberg veteran. He shot Schindler's List. He shot Minority Report. He
Okay.
did Funny People, which you also like. He's a cinematographer for Ready Player One, so he's kind of like Spielberg's guy. He didn't. I think the earliest was. I'm trying to think, but he was in there in the 80s. He didn't. It wasn't quite in the ET days. I don't know who shot ET, if you know, but yeah, he's like a totally Spielberg guy.
Okay.
I thought this one was good. It was shot well. It had sort of like an engrossing kind of feel. You're in the movie, which we talk about is always anything that can make you feel that way is good. So. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was shot well, and I was surprised by Kaminsky's resume. I didn't even.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. Yeah, so that's good to see. That's a frequent. So he obviously trusts him, which is good to see. So I mean that says a lot right there. But yeah, I mean I looked at this and Spielberg. Obviously we'll talk about him in directing, but I mean obviously the director has a lot to do with the shots that are chosen and how, but just
Right.
the cameras seems to always be moving in his movies.
Yeah.
Like he's not lazy. So I mean that's one thing that I noticed. Is just even like a still shot, you could easily just go back and forth with the actors having a conversation, but he kind of moves the camera around. Like I know there was a scene with Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep where they're just having breakfast and the camera was just kind of moving around as they were having the conversation. It wasn't just going back and forth over shoulder shots. So I really appreciated that in the cinematography. No, it wasn't lazy is the best way I could put it.
No, I think that's a great call, and I think there's a couple of instances where, because we know the Post refers to the Washington Post, so there's some things where they're in like conference rooms and stuff where there's be like a big table and there's people talking, and I think this is sort of like what you're saying too, where like the camera will go to a person, but then it'll like pick up and then move back to in the opposite to another. Like you said, it's not just quick cuts. It actually
Right.
like moves you through the conversation in its own sort of way, and how like where the story is going, it keeps your eyes on it, if that
Right.
makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, yeah, great shots in this movie, and so yeah, I mean that kind of touches on that. Now let's get into Darkest Hour. Who was the cinematographer for that?
Bruno, I'm reading this. Bruno Delbonnel, who I do not know who it is, but he
Okay.
actually shot. He also shot. He shot Inside Llewyn Davis.
Oh, okay.
And when I read that, I'm like, I can kind of see some similarities here. It's sort of like an artsy feel. It almost feels like the movie, and I think Inside Llewyn Davis had this too, where the movie feels like it's on a stage in a sense. The way it's lit, everything is like perfectly set up in that way. It's not gritty at all. I wouldn't call it.
Right.
It's very purposeful, and there's a very how do I want to say, like like I said, the lighting and the angles. It's all there's a mission there. And it's not going for quick movements and stuff
Right.
like that. So
Yeah,
I thought it was good. What do you think?
Gives the film atmosphere.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I mean, there's lots of like you said with the lighting, like any window shot, there's always like light just like piercing in through the windows, like this yellow piercing light coming through, which was definitely unique. I love the shots of when they're like walking through the tunnels. Winston's always walking through.
Yeah.
It seems like these underground tunnels, which is a nice touch. And there's a lot of tracking shots as well.
Mm-hmm.
And they kept doing this thing where they would like do an overhead shot and then like zoom out, and then you would see like the whole city, or they would like, I think they did it a couple times where they actually zoomed in, but like a couple times they like zoomed out, and then they would have like a bunch of explosions and stuff. That was, they did that quite a bit. I thought that was pretty unique, and kind of almost like experimenting with it a little, which I liked. But I loved all the tracking shots, especially when Winston Churchill's in the car. And, it's going past all the people, like Winston, you see it from Winston's point of view, and you just see people in the streets, I thought it was good. It was good.
Well, that's great stuff. I mean, that's all great stuff, because the lighting for sure, I know, it's like so bright. It reminds me of like the Spielberg, like flashlight. I always like want that effect in real life. Where, like, like the side where it's like so light. But the tracking stuff. There's that one thing too where he was focusing out, and they were showing like a bombing, and it's like sort of mean like experimental art, whatever. Yeah. And it's like this landscape that's been blown up, but then it turns into like it like transitions from that landscape, that battered landscape, into like a soldier's face with his eye.
Oh right, yeah.
Where it moved like seamlessly, like, oh, that's a person, like, wait, because that's what's going on. I mean, that's real people are dying, which the movie's trying to tell you. All these decisions, these political decisions, have a real cost to them.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's a good point. Good call out there.
And two, just the other thing. I mean, you just made great points on this, because the one where Churchill's sitting in the cab and he's getting transported from 10 Downing Street to Parliament, and it's showing his perspective, because his struggle is relating to the common person, trying to figure out what they want, how they're living. And so and it did a great, I mean, some of this will, I think, have to go to direction, but getting that across just by the shot is a credit there.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so I thought this was shot beautifully, and that was one of my favorite parts of the movie, were just the different shots chosen and everything. So I mean, obviously this is a competition here. We're putting these movies against each other. So I mean, if you have to pick one, who are you giving the edge to in this first battle?
I have to say, before we started, I had the post, but after talking through this, I'm gonna change mine to Darkest Hour.
Really? Okay. Yeah. I mean, I had Darkest Hour all along. So yeah, I mean, that's interesting that you initially had the post, and it took a little talking to me to persuade you and change your mind a little.
You convinced me. Well, what I really liked about the post is it was it's a difficult story, I think, but to keep you interested all throughout, and like you said, it's doing more, and I think part of that is the job of the cinematographer to show things in an interesting way, where a lot of it is just dense dialogue, whereas if you just kept the camera stationary, flipping back and forth, you'd be asleep in like 5 minutes. So I think that's what I really liked about it. But yeah, as we're going through, like I said, I'm changing. So
all right, well, there you go. All right, so that's one for Darkest Hour. Both of us have cinematography. Darkest Hour is the winner for that. So yeah, let's go to the score.
So there's a guy who did the score for the post. His name is John Williams. John Williams.
Never.
Do you know that name?
Doesn't even. I'm a big movie guy, and doesn't even sound familiar.
Yeah, I have to check out I didn't check out his IMDb because I don't think there's really going to be anything there. And it's such a
basic name too, John Williams. Come on.
Yeah, it's so generic. It sounds made up, right? Mm-hmm. But anyway, so yes, John Williams did the score.
We're such jokesters, man. Oh man.
Oh yeah, it's not funny. John Williams is an accomplished man, so
it's not something to be joked about. But yeah, John Williams. Another frequent collaborator with Steven Spielberg.
I'm sorry, I missed you there.
Another frequent collaborator with Spielberg.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for Spielberg, maybe we wouldn't know John Williams, right?
That's true. That is true.
But I thought the score here was appropriate when needed. I don't think it was really prominent in the movie. It was just okay. I don't know. Maybe do you have different thoughts in this? Actually, I will say for both movies, I don't think the score is a big part of either one of these films.
Yeah, I'd say that too. Yeah, I mean, the only thing that sticks out for me for the post with John Williams is the scene where they're actually getting it's a true story, so I'm not really spoiling anything, but would they get that, they're finally getting the article out and there's like everything's printing and everything, and it's
Yeah.
just like upbeat music, like it totally seems like a Spielberg slash John Williams movie. You're like, oh, yep, this is very familiar, totally get it. So yeah, I mean, that's really the only thing that stood out for me there. And time out here, my daughter's crying. One sec.
No problem. All right, so moving on for score to Darkest Hour, we have, and I know you know this name, Ben, Bruno Delbano.
Oh, my good man Dilbana, my good man.
So on this score, I thought it was okay. It was not as memorable. So I don't know. I don't really have much for this. There was the rousing moments you would expect. I don't think any of this really stood out in particular. How did you think about it?
Yeah, I mean it's very forgettable. Yeah, nothing, yeah, to write home about. There was a couple scenes that got me. I can't even pinpoint where it was, but I could remember thinking, "Oh yeah, this is good. It's upbeat. It's it's kind of in a dramatic point where Winston Churchill's pissed about something. I don't know, but yeah, nothing too spectacular. I wouldn't say.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, so this one's actually tough
I
for
don't
me
think...
just because they're not that they're not anything outstanding.
Yeah, neither one of these really stand out for score, and I don't think score is really the point or that really supposed to be an integral part into either of these movies.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, this is one where we both like score, and that's why it's a crucial category. But for both of these movies, it just happens to not really be the case for either one of them, even though they're Best Picture nominees.
Yeah, I agree. So I mean, which one are you picking? Which one would you say has the edge?
In the battle of losers, I'm gonna go with John Williams in The Post.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to. Yeah, that's what I had as well. Just because he's so consistent, and he doesn't put out a bad one. It fits the tone of the movie, and yeah, John Williams for The Post for me as well.
So we are creeping into agreement again.
I know. Look at that. Darkest Hour for cinematography, The Post for score. Now, what do we have next?
We have acting. So with The Post, we have Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks. But it's not just about these two. This is a cast a mile long, right?
Yep, exactly.
There are so many actors. You got Bob Odenkirk. You got Dave Cross. You got your new favorite actor, Michael Stolber.
Yes, he is my new favorite actor. Thank you very much.
You got
he's in three Best Picture nominated films this year. To my knowledge, he might be even more. I don't know.
There could be more. No, right? He's in everything now.
Yeah.
But there's so many good Bruce Greenwood, who I actually really like. There's so many good actors. You see someone, oh, well, there's a good performance. There's a good performance. And it's like nonstop with the acting in this one.
Which one's Bruce Greenwood?
On the other hand, what did you think? Yeah, go ahead.
No, which one's Bruce Greenwood? Who's he?
He played McNamara.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. I mean, this cast. I mean, Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep alone. It's already an amazing cast. But I mean, just all the supporting players in this movie are it's insane. The performances they gave and just the names that were just on supporting players.
Yeah. So, but on the other hand, for Darkest Hour, it's very whereas The Post is sort of very widespread with actors. The Darkest Hour is very top heavy. You've got Gary Oldman,
yeah,
who is just wow. The guy's phenomenal. I mean, he just owns every inch of that screen, right? And where he's not in it, you want him to fill it even further.
Exactly.
And then there's Ben Mendelsohn, who I always say I love. Played King George VI, I believe.
Yep, George VI.
I love Ben Mendelsohn. And Lily James, who is the camera loves her. That's what I'll say.
Lily James. She plays his wife.
So no, Lily James. She was the secretary.
Oh yeah,
she was in Baby Driver.
Yeah, Baby Driver. She was in that Cinderella movie. The latest
I think
one.
She's a really good actress.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Like I said, she's very flattering on screen.
Did you mention Stannis?
Oh yeah, Stannis is on this. Yeah. And I know him.
I know, yeah. At first, I didn't really like. He kind of looked familiar, but I didn't like totally recognize him. But yeah, then I was like, oh, there's Stannis Baratheon. There he
It's funny
is.
too, because still bald, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's the eyebrows or something.
I
There was
know.
something there that looked
Yeah.
odd, but in the end, it's really not that different.
S-
So I don't know. But
Stephen Delane is the actor's
yeah,
name. Stephen Delane. But
then
yeah, I
again, he
mean,
gives a look, and it's that same, just that stare, you know. And
yeah.
you're just like, whoa.
So I mean, just talking about actors' names alone, you give it to the post. But now, just talking about performances, though, how'd you feel about who had the edge in these performances?
Yeah, because that's a good question. Because even though Meryl Streep is Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks is Tom Hanks, I don't think they were really the best in this movie. I think it's more of an ensemble in the post.
Definitely.
More on the opposite end, this is Gary Oldman blowing things away, and that he is so good. And I think really really those three, Lily James is really good, Ben Mendelsohn. So I think Gary Oldman blows this. He just dominates this film so much. I think he just, even that great cast you see in the post, his performance alone almost just blows them over.
Right. Yeah. No, I totally agree. Yeah. I mean, even if Tom Hanks or Meryl Streep was the best acting in that movie, I still think
Yeah.
Gary Oldman blows them away. It's just his performance alone, yeah, just totally takes the cake for this one. I mean, he's been a great actor for years now. I've always thought he needed the recognition, and he's finally getting it, and he most likely will win the Oscar for this movie. But yeah, I mean, he is just amazing in this movie. I mean, it's don't really have the words much to say, because I mean, it didn't even see it felt like Winston Churchill. It did not seem like Gary Oldman. Like it was like you could see that, you could recognize him. You could see in his eyes, yes, that's Gary Oldman, but he was this character slash historical figure, and that's just amazing to me that he brought this guy back to life essentially.
Yeah, this is like Daniel Day-Lewis level stuff. I mean, he's got the mannerisms. He has this almost like he changed his breathing. He changed his entire essence into a man who's long dead.
Yeah.
It's like doing an impersonation of a guy, and it looks just like him. You can see Gary Oldman in there, obviously. The makeup is great,
Right.
but you get another person. You're lost in. You're just watching Churchill. That's all you're doing.
Do you watch The Crown on Netflix?
I have not. My wife saw the first season, and for some reason she watched it and I didn't, and I gotta see it.
We actually started watching it. We watched like the first one or two episodes before I saw Darkest Hour, and John Lithgow plays Winston Churchill in that movie or in that show. And but so I watched a couple episodes. I was like, yeah, he's doing good. He's won awards for it and stuff. And then I saw this, and then I watched more episodes of The Crown after I saw this, and it's John Lithgow's performance is just so not even mediocre. It's almost just laughable at this point, because it's just like, wow, that is so John Lithgow just trying to do it. Like Gary Oldman is the bar now. Like you cannot get past that.
Lithgow's a good actor. There's nothing wrong with John Lithgow. He's a good actor.
Right, exactly,
He's good.
No, I was just saying, yeah, I mean, I was just agreeing with you. Yeah, I mean, he's a great actor. I like John Lithgow a lot, but after seeing he's got to be scared to play. Actually, I don't know if he's playing him anymore. I don't know how many seasons there are, but anyways,
just came out with a 2, I think. I don't know
Yeah.
what's after that or what, but yeah, I know, right? You'd be like, oh, I really screwed the pooch on that one compared to this guy.
Yeah, exactly. Or he's probably glad that he at least got a good amount of episodes out before this movie came out, because that was. It was rough. It's rough to watch now, but
This
anyway.
is one of the best performances you'll see in a movie.
Yeah.
Really.
I mean, again, it wasn't my favorite movie of the year, but definitely, if he doesn't win the Oscar for it, I will be shocked.
That would be robbery.
So by the way this conversation has went, I take it we both are taking Darkest Hour for acting,
Gotta go with it. Yeah,
based on Gary
despite
Oldman's
the-
performance
Despite
alone.
the great cast and all that, in the post, I cannot really. Gary Oldman is so good almost by himself, even without the good performances
I know.
of Mendelsohn and Lily James. And I think Scott Thomas plays his wife. She was actually really good too, little in some little scenes.
Yeah, she is.
But just on his own he's such a force in this film. Just like what you would think of as what Winston Churchill is, which is just this force of personality.
Right, yeah.
And that's what it was all there on screen. Just incredible. So yeah, we are yet again in agreement. Acting goes to The Darkest Hour.
All right, so
Ready
Darkest
to move on
Hour,
to our next
3-1. Or, no, I'm sorry, 2-1. Yeah, let's go to our next one.
screenplay. So The Post was not written by Steven Spielberg. It was written by Liz Hannah and Josh Singer. And I don't know either one of them.
No, me neither. Do you have any of
They
their
don't have
credits?
big resumes.
No.
But now what is good though about this one is it's kind of a complicated story. And in writing, being able to put your ideas across clearly for something that is complex, which I think this movie is, but it does a good job of not making it, hard to get into. It doesn't make it to be like, oh, I'm really smart because I understand this. Well, you have to make it digestible for a regular audience, and I think that actually does. I think it does a good job of that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it makes it, like you said, it makes it easy to follow. I guess there were times where I think they could have done better as to what exactly was going on, because they advertised this movie as something that they broke the story, and then I guess if you know history you should already know it, but I don't know, some of the things that happened, it was just like, wait, so the New York Times got this beforehand? Like, I don't know, just the way it was going, just I don't know, it just kind of threw me off. But I guess that maybe that is good writing. But
no, I think yeah, I mean, it's not perfect. I could see, all I think I'll say is I think this could be more of a cluster than it was.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
And the fact that it was written at least good enough to that point where you're like, okay, you deserve credit here.
Right. No. Yeah, I agree there. But yeah, I mean, it's tough too. I mean, I know we're gonna get into Darkest Hour. It's just both of these are historic films, so, or based on history, and that's tough for to judge a screenplay off of, because they're just basically relaying what happened to you. It's just how they choose to tell it is where the screenplay comes in. But it's definitely tough with this one, because I mean, both, I'd say Darkest Hour does the same thing. Who wrote Darkest Hour?
I have Anthony McCanton. Anthony McCanton, who also he wrote Theory of Everything.
Oh, okay. So yeah, and I think Joe Wright might have directed that, or no, he might have done Imitation Game. He did one of those two, but
I'm not sure.
Okay, so okay. Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
This is another one. So I don't know. I mean, I see the critiques on The Post, but on Darkest Hour, I don't know that there's really great lines and setup here. It's really more just the delivery of the lines. I think is where I think I fall. If that makes sense. The performance is so good, but the stuff that's on paper, I don't know if the screenplay itself is that great.
Yeah, that's true.
Because if this was John Lithgow playing, this would have been a crap movie.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it definitely would have been. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's an interesting point you make, because, yeah, I mean, acting can fool you into thinking. Great acting can fool you into thinking that this is a great movie or it's great writing, when it might not always be the case. It's just someone is just amazing at being this character, or relaying the lines, or reading the lines, like you said. So yeah, I mean, that definitely makes it a little tougher to determine. On paper, is this going to be a good movie? But again, both, I think, make it easy to follow, make it easy to understand.
Yeah.
So
and I did get to know Churchill. I thought, through this movie, even acting aside, I thought that I got a sense of the man. This is another tough one.
Yeah, exactly.
I want you to go first here.
Okay. I mean, as of now, I had Darkest Hour, just because I think I enjoyed the movie more, but that could have been just because of the acting. Yeah. I mean, it's really a push for me, just because both of them, just, again, a movie based on history is tough for me to judge the screenplay off of.
they're both based on history.
Right.
That's the issue here. It's taking a historical fact and making it interesting, or to an audience that those events are sort of long gone. I mean, even the Post stuff. This is the late '60s, early '70s. I mean, neither one of us were alive.
Right,
So,
exactly. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give it to Darkest Hour just because I did enjoy Darkest Hour more.
yeah. Well, I'm going to say this is going to be our first disagreement. I'm going to go with the Post here.
Okay.
And just because I think that it really does take something very complicated and makes it digestible. And I could see it failing very easily on that.
Yeah.
And, the critique I have about Darkest Hour, I think it's really more about the acting than it is the story. So,
Yeah,
but
that's true.
There's our difference.
Well, and also, I mean, I guess we can, is kind of screenplays where we can actually talk more in depth about the movie. Is just what I liked about Darkest Hour. I was telling you, I know, when I first watched it, is how much it enhances Dunkirk. Like even we said at the beginning of the show, but it. You see the politics end of that battle they were on in Dunkirk. It's almost like this could be like a back and forth scene, while watching Dunkirk. They can just switch to scenes showing, how Winston Churchill is going to handle this and everything, and vice versa. I mean, watching, it would be awesome to see some Dunkirk scenes while watching this. I think these movies complement each other, which has nothing to do with the screenplay and writing it. None of these movies are related in any way. It's just, for me, the viewing experience was enhanced by seeing Dunkirk first for me.
Yeah, I wasn't going to bring up Dunkirk because I bring up Dunkirk, I think, every episode we've had since July. I was going to try to keep my mouth shut on it. But since you've opened that door. But yeah, I agree. I think, maybe because we already know what's going to happen after seeing Dunkirk. Not that we need to be spoiled because, like you said earlier, this is history. So we actually should know this. But
right.
I'll be honest, I did not know the Dunkirk story until I saw that movie or read up about it. I think it was an undertold story. I had no idea that was everything was this dire.
I think I think it's more known like over there, like over in like England and stuff, because it was their army. I don't think it's something that was totally, taught in America and everything, because it's not American history.
We weren't in the war then.
Yeah, exactly. We were
out of it. So we hadn't jumped in yet. So yeah, that's why. Yeah, probably why we don't know.
Did you feel it?
I can see that. Although I will say there was that one scene that they had in Darkest Hour with the boats going across the sea.
Right.
And there's no comparison to that scene versus what you get in Dunkirk.
I know, right? Yeah.
It's like that's like a cheap imitation.
Yeah, I know.
what Christopher Nolan and Hans Zimmer did for you there.
Did it? Did it enhance Darkest Hour for you by seeing Dunkirk? Do you think?
I think it did because I knew what the stakes were, and I like that it told. I like how one movie told one story, the sort of political side, what's going on at home, and then the other movie tells what's going on the ground. Apart from all the politics, which is what we talked about before. Apart from the morality, apart from the politics, just you on that beach trying to find your way off. But there are, what do how am I going to get off? Well, you go back to Parliament where you have people like Churchill. People want to abandon him. He wants to fight for you. He wants to sue for peace. Or maybe, and maybe that actually would have been good for the men on the beach if they didn't get them off, because who knows what would have happened. Maybe they would have just surrendered and all gone off to I don't know where, but. Who knows? Well, that was the debate, right? If we sue for peace, is he just going to slaughter us, or we become like a slave state or whatever they called it?
Yeah.
So you don't know. But yeah, so I do think that the two movies, while they deal with the same event, they complement each other very well. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good. Great points, man. Good job. I appreciate that.
Thanks.
All right.
We should do a show one day.
I know, man. We should try a podcast or something.
Who cares? I don't have the time.
Yeah, exactly. I
don't watch any movies.
I don't have time for this. But all right, so I said Zora push on that. So I'm Darkest Hour. You're the Post. So that's a first. Wonder how we're gonna do that. I know. All right, so directing.
We got our last category here, which is direction. So the Post, done by Steven Spielberg.
Are we gonna do that bit again where we act like we don't know who Steven Spielberg is? You want to do that bit again?
I think we've overused that.
Oh,
bit.
okay. I'll edit that out.
And Joe Wright did The Darkest Hour. And I don't know Joe Wright.
You don't know him personally?
That's not a bit. I don't know Joe Wright.
That's understandable. I think he did Atonement. He did... What else did he do? He did Atonement. I know that, but...
I think that's right. Yeah, he did Atonement. And he did... Actually, I got it up here.
Imitation Game, I think, was one... It was either Imitation Game or Theory of Everything.
Anna Karenina. Yeah, definitely did Atonement.
Told you. I got that.
But Pan.
Pan. Oh yeah, that was bad.
Wow, that I wish I didn't see that. Pride and Prejudice. Did you see that?
Nah.
The Soloist. Hannah.
Oh, he did The Soloist. Interesting. Did he do Imitation Game?
No.
Did he do Theory of Everything?
No.
Oh wow, I was way off on both of those then.
Ask me another movie he didn't do.
Did he do Saving Private Ryan?
No, but actually, that was done by the director of The Post.
Segue.
Yeah, there you go. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what you thought about Spielberg in this movie, but I felt like it was very generic. And I know there's no action scenes because it's The Post.
That's how I feel about a lot of his dramas he does like this. It's just generic. It's safe. It's cookie cutter. You know, it's just...
This could have been any director, right? There's no trademarks of his.
The only thing I can speak on was, which I already spoke on with cinematography, is he's not lazy. You know, he does do, these elaborate shots and tracking shots and all that. He's not lazy. I'll give him that. Well,
I do want to say this though, and I with that huge cast, and they're all so good. This movie kind of reminds me of Oliver Stone's JFK.
Okay, yeah.
So many famous side actors that just in these really tiny roles, but they, so to keep all of that together with all these actors in a very quickly moving story with a lot of moving parts and a lot of detail. That's a serious credit to direction there, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, your job is to get great performances out of your actors. Deal with their egos, deal with a lot of crap. So with a big cast like this, to have to deal with all that, yeah, definitely a credit to the director. I agree with you there.
So what about Joe Wright in Darkest Hour?
Joe Wright, I mean, I think, again, you got the best performance any director could ever ask for. Yeah, I mean, again, it's kind of the same as Screenplay. I mean, there's nothing crazy or, these movies aren't masterpieces, which, not every movie from a director is going to be, but it's just... These movies are just kind of run-of-the-mill, cookie-cutter movies. They don't take too many chances.
I gotta agree on that, yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. Joe Wright, though, I mean, it's nice to see someone fresh who I'm not that familiar with. Again, some of the choices of the shots. Again, a lot of directing is the cinematography. Obviously they choose what shots are going to be in the movie. So I mean, I liked a lot of the cinematography, the choices, of the lighting and everything like that. I mean, I'm obviously talking about technical stuff, but I don't know.
That's all. I mean, the director's in charge of all of that.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah. So I mean, but this one I did, just because it's Spielberg, I did give the edge to The Post.
Yeah, I did too. And really yeah, I mean, Joe Wright gets an amazing performance out of a man, and they were probably, I mean, the whole movie is just Gary Oldman, right? So that focus, that's great. I mean, it almost reminded me of like a P.T. Anderson and a D.D. Lewis sort of thing, where they're just like, well, there's a story, but we're just gonna focus on this one guy. Yeah. Reminds me of that, so that's a credit to him. But broadly, though, Spielberg, the guy's he's Steven freaking Spielberg. So
exactly.
He takes. It is generic. I really don't want to use that word again, but it feels that. But he still does a good job of making it. It's just good. It's not
right. Yeah.
I think generic is wrong. It's just good. It's not. It's like not offensive. It's not. You watch it and it's like, yeah, that was good, and then you turn it off, and you really don't think about it again.
No, it's not a movie that lingers. It's not a movie that sticks with you. Darkest Hour, it sticks with you just because of the acting. That's the only
Yeah,
part that sticks with you is just
yeah.
Gary Oldman's performance. Yeah, I mean, the post is just forgettable. I think is again, like you said, it's good. You know, it's a good movie. It's like, yeah, okay, yeah, that
It's like the
was.
best I could say about it.
Yeah.
It's pretty. It's it's good.
Again, I would never have saw it if it wasn't nominated. Um, so
No.
I mean, I had no interest in seeing it, but we saw it, you know, for the people, you know, for the people. So you give the edge to the post just because it's
I
Spielberg.
do.
I feel like
And,
that's a cop out, but yeah, I mean, I mean, because I did too. That's the reason I'm doing it. But yeah,
Well, now I'm curious here how we're going to score this because we're 2-2. Well, yeah, we're 2-2 for each. But I have for screenplay I have the post, and for screenplay you have the Darkest Hour. So we're actually at a tie here. I don't know what
Yeah.
the official rules
that's
are. For
true.
how we settle
I mean,
this.
I can just change my vote from the post to Darkest Hour in directing, and then Darkest Hour will win. No, I can't do that. But I mean,
Oh, you
I guess
could.
there
I
doesn't.
mean,
I
you
guess
could.
there doesn't have to be a clear-cut winner. You know,
Okay.
you think you know technically in all 5 of these categories, the post is the better technical film, and
I do. I think the post is a better technical film. Yeah. So you're on Darkest Hour. Then.
yeah, exactly.
Right. So we don't have to agree here. All right.
So overall, so just not even speaking about technical, just your overall enjoyment of each film. Which one did you like? Did you enjoy more?
I liked watching Darkest Hour more.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, I
Even
mean,
though I think the post is a technically better film.
yeah, totally in agreement with you there. But
It reminds me of music where 3 chords played one way are good, but 3 chords played another way can be inspiring, even though it's the same 3 chords.
Right.
So that's sort of like the way I see the post is the more technically better. Darkest Hour gave me more emotionally, I guess. I'll say.
Yeah, there you go, Len. That was very well put. Man, have you done this before?
I have not.
Man, you should. You should keep doing it. But no, I mean, you're totally right. Sorry, folks. My headphones are totally screwing up here, and I'm trying to fix them. But
I want to know what you have for a rating for these. I'm really kind of curious on that.
I was curious as well, and I'm gonna give you it as soon as my headphones will.
All right. Well, while you're getting that ready, I'll give you my post. I have 2.5 stars and 1.5 buckets of popcorn. This is just an okay movie. I mean, it's. I don't even know why this is nominated for Best Picture, to be honest with you.
I know. Yeah, I agree. I don't think this should be nominated for Best Picture. I don't even think Meryl Streep should be nominated for Best Actress. I think she just got nominated because she is Meryl Streep. Which I know I'm not the first person to ever say that or think that, but
Yeah. I mean, in this movie, she's really kind of a nothing. I think, unless of course she's just so good that I just don't even notice her being so good. I mean, that's possible.
yeah.
But I didn't see much here. I mean, really.
Yeah, I mean,
I saw everything coming. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, I like that they touched on just. I like how the progression of her character, just how she was very reserved and which I guess I should have talked about this in the screenplay, but she was very reserved at first, and the way she was, very passive, and just how she overcame all that at the end. She grew as a character into being, a strong woman who, isn't gonna take crap from anyone and is gonna, say, no, this is what we're doing. I don't care what you say. So I liked that her character arc, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that's a good call. And yeah, she did have that bit there, and people were kind of looking down on her or didn't want to really listen to anything she had to say. But she still had control, and she used that power that she had in a positive way.
Right. Yeah. Which I totally missed that when we were talking about screenplay but
Acting.
and acting. Yeah, acting as well. But hey, anyways, this is our first Skype show. Give us a break,
So
folks.
are you headphone ready to give your?
Oh yes, sorry. Yes. So you gave it 2.5 stars and 1.5 buckets of popcorn.
Yeah.
I gave it 2.5 stars and 2 buckets of popcorn.
Okay.
I love journalist movies. Not that I love journalist movies. I just, whenever I watch a journalist movie, I want to be a journalist just because I like how they're investigating a story and writing it and writing the articles and stuff. For some reason, that always intrigues me.
Oh yeah, I mean these movies make it sound like the most glamorous thing in the world,
Right.
and it's really not. It sucks. It's one
Like,
of the worst jobs you could actually have.
like there's always this story to crack or this story that's
Yeah.
gonna break, and really they're just waiting to see what celebrity, named their dog what.
Right. You imagine like this dramatic music and somebody hands you an envelope and it's the secret file and it just doesn't
Yeah.
it really doesn't work that way. Or if
It-
it does, it's like historic.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I give it 2.5, 2 buckets of popcorn. So Darkest Hour, how do you rate that?
This is gonna sound lame. I've got the same 2.5 stars and 2 buckets of popcorn, so slightly more entertaining. Again, aside from the performance, I think the same thing stands with the post. Is I don't know that this is a Best Picture nominee. I liked it more. The performance itself, I could only justify this as a Best Picture nominee just to get people to watch it for the Gary Oldman performance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it was definitely going to get nominated for Best Acting. I am a little surprised it was nominated for Best Picture, but I give it 3 stars and 2.5 buckets of popcorn.
Okay.
3 stars, yeah, 2.5 buckets of popcorn for.
I'm not gonna fight you on it. I don't know. Neither one of these, they weren't inspiring going in. They're both good, but at the end, I'm gonna leave them saying Gary Oldman was amazing, and
Right.
that's kind of it. That's
Yeah,
that's my only takeaway really from both of these films.
yeah, yeah. I agree with you there, but I mean,
So,
they're both.
I'm gonna just
go-
hold on to just so everybody sees. These are my notes,
Oh, look at you, Mister
and
Mister Preparedness.
we're going over there.
Oh,
Done.
wow.
All I got. Gary
Just
Oldman's
like-
amazing, and I'm done.
Okay, he's out. He's out. Gary Oldman is amazing. So Dave, and he walks away. That was awesome. That was great. See, I mean, Dave had The Post is the better technical film. I had Darkest Hour, but we both enjoyed Darkest Hour the most. Gary Oldman. That's why you got to see it. Both of these movies should not have been nominated for Best Picture.
But it really is worth seeing Darkest Hour. If you're interested, if you've seen Dunkirk and you like Dunkirk, you'll like this. If you like World War II stuff, you'll like this.
Yeah.
If you like history, you'll like this. And if you want to see one of the best performances ever on film, then go see Darkest Hour. I really don't even know that I would recommend The Post.
I know. I totally agree. Yeah, go see Darkest Hour, The Post. If you're strapped on time, strapped on money, maybe skip it. So,
Or if you just, I don't want to be bored out of my mind. No, it's not true. But I think I like that though. I think we should integrate a recommendation here because after all, we are talking about the movies. If you want to encourage people to see them or not, we should say yes or no. I think, or especially if the
It's
answer is
true.
no, we should make that clear.
no, I agree. Yeah, I can't wait to see who wins the Oscars for these films. Gary Oldman's probably going to win the only Oscar for both these films. So,
Yeah, and we will be live,
live,
Oscar
folks.
night.
Live, folks. This Skype is going all right so far. So hopefully the live stream will work as well.
I hope so. I can't see you. I can see myself I can hear you fine. I can see myself in a tiny little screen there, or a tiny little corner, and it seems okay. So
Well, good. How do you feel about Meryl Streep?
she can retire for all I care. Don't
Cool.
care. I think the best thing I've seen in her recently was August and Osage
Oh
County.
yeah. I like when she plays a bad person, I hate when I'm sick of her playing like this just goody two shoes kind of character.
I agree. Yeah,
Just-
she kind of has that. Yeah, I agree. I think she's better in a more mean, in a more mean villainy role.
Yeah, exactly. Be a
You know,
bitch.
just like your favorite, Devil Wears Prada. It's your favorite
yeah.
movie.
Well, a guilty pleasure, but it's we can share that knowledge today. But all right, folks. Well, that is it for us. We had again our first Skype show. Our next show will be on Skype as well because we're gonna do Get Out versus Lady Bird with our
Can't wait.
next. I don't know, our pit against each other series.
No, Ben. It is the battle for the best picture.
Battle for the Best Picture. Thank you. Forgive me for getting that wrong. All right, folks. Well, be sure to follow us on Twitter. I am at BCcord.
I'm at Dave_Quist.
Follow the show's Twitter at BlockbusterCast. Be sure to like this video, comment, review us on iTunes, subscribe to us on YouTube. You know, all that fun. YouTube. Dave, anything else?
Happy to be here. I love doing this remote. Just want to say I had a bit of personal stuff going on, so I want to dedicate the show to that memory. So
Thank you. All right, man. All right, folks. Well, that is it for us. And for Davo, as always, grab some popcorn, grab some snacks. We'll catch you guys
at the movies.